I'm Sylvia Richardson, and I'm the host of Latin Ways. Latin Ways is a radio that is syndicated. It airs from coast to coast in Canada and through the US and some stations in Africa. I'm very privileged today to be joined by Candace Paul. She is one of the members of Treaty 10, which is in Dene territory. Very privileged to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, one of the things that People's Social Forum had as a dream, perhaps, you know, we always have these expansive dreams of who and what we can be, was to bring people together and to share our stories about where we come from, you know, what we love and what makes us. And in many ways, the land is part of who we are, you know, it defines us. And so I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your territory. What's Dene territory like?
Dene territory is a boreal forest. It's all trees and big trees and lakes and rivers. There wasn't that many roads, and there still aren't that many roads in our territory. And there's still people alive who lived on the trap lines, grew up on the trap lines, traveled by dog teams, canoes all year, lived in trapper tents as children. And so the land is really, really connected. People still hunt and eat from the land. We gather berries. I'm missing gathering berries right now. It's very important to us, and we can't separate ourselves from the land. What's happened over the last many years, government has pushed people into little communities. The people were all spread out all over the land before. So in order to prevent people from going to residential school so much, and they put schools in communities to take them off the land. And that opened up everything to resource development. And that's changed. It's changed so much of what our communities are like. So for the last 30 some years in our area, and longer in the far north, the main industry and the main push for economic development was uranium extraction, uranium mining. They promised it would bring economic prosperity, and they made everybody believe that, you know, they'd have the same stuff as the people in the south. They'd have the same life, an easier life, a better life, they called it. But they started very quickly to realize that not everybody was going to get a job. And economic development didn't happen in the communities. So what people were becoming some people were becoming rich from mining, from working in mines. They were not becoming rich, but they had more money. Now we have a class system, and we have unemployment. And we didn't have unemployment before. Everybody worked. There was either fishing, there was trapping, but they changed our world and brought it. They wanted what we have on our land, and they changed us to get it.
In so many ways, the challenge always is to know who we are as a people. And you know, wherever you live, the land defines you in many ways. So in Coast Salish territory, you know, the salmon is such a symbol for how the people see their spirituality, their connection to the land, the way this mythical and beautiful creature, you know, nurtures not just the animals in the oceans, you know, the orcas, you know, but also the trees, the forests in those areas. And so I'm thinking, as you're describing of your beautiful Dene territory, I'm thinking of the expansiveness, you know, of imagination that can create, that a place with boreal forest can create, right? I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the impact that the mines have had, because you're right. I mean, today, everywhere in the world, we see an economic system that is imposing one way of creating wealth, you know, and wealth is always described around the issue of dollars and cents, but there's a different kind of wealth, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Like, I'll use my son's own words. He said if he's proud to live along one of the most beautiful lakes in the world, And if passing up economic opportunities like uranium mining or nuclear waste storage is going to prevent him from ever being economically successful, he would rather take the consequences of that, because the land and the water is far more important to him. And it is to many. Right now, everything is being pushed at our young people. Our own leaders are coming to our community and saying, well, we got to all train to be miners. Everybody. And there's young people saying, I don't want to be a miner. And the opportunities for education are all being pushed towards becoming skilled workers in the mining trades. And the young people aren't dumb. They know the effects that it's going to have on their life and on the earth. And I talk to many of the people that have worked in the mines, and it hurts. It literally hurts their spirit. They don't like what they're being asked to do. They don't like that they have, this is the only way they have right now to feed their family, and it hurts so bad because they know it's taking away from their grandchildren. And it's kind of like the whole of our culture, which was land-based and water-based, is being taken away.
I think about also a different kind of wound, that opens up, and that is our bodies are so divinely beautiful and magical in so many ways. When you open your eyes, immediately all these images, are created, and your brain is constantly creating images and feeding back. So it's a beautiful thing to have a healthy, fully functional body. So can we talk a little bit about the impact that the mines has had on the health of the community, and how it has maybe affected the social and cultural aspects of it?
Definitely. A long time ago, when the elders say there was no sickness like cancer. It was very, very rare. And if there was, they had their own cures for it. But what they're finding now, since the mining has been in, is cancer and other diseases are starting to pop up. And people are, like in our community, we took a count. 1 in 7 people are suffering from cancer, and it's starting to happen to younger and younger people. So it's looking like in the very near future, we won't have anyone who lives to be elder status, true elder status, to live long enough to gain the wisdom to be true elders. And that's going to really seriously impact the culture. And the health, it's like every family is grieving. We've actually been working a lot in terms of trying to get accountability on the uranium mining companies to the health, and on the regulators to the health. And they don't even acknowledge that they make people sick, because it's really difficult to prove where cancer in particular comes from. Yet in other countries, in the United States, for instance, they acknowledge there's 40 different diseases that are created by uranium mining. In Canada, they only recognize lung cancer. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing all kinds, and more people have it. And when we had not tried to get this through the regulators, they asked the health department of the province where we live in Saskatchewan, they asked them, what kind of study would you want? Because we're asking for a health study, and the doctors are asking for a health study, and they won't do one. And the doctor says, well, we don't need a comprehensive health study. And they asked him what kind of health study he'd want. A mental health study, wellness study. It'll take me 1 minute to tell you what's wrong with our people. Our people are in grief. They haven't had time to heal from the residential school experience where children were taken from their parents. And now we're in another society, because these mines are fly in, fly out, so parents are being taken from the children. So there's a lot of relationship is kind of fractured. And it affects kids and how they learn and how they relate, and it's still not a normal way to live. And so there is a lot of grief. Everybody is impacted by it. It's a collective community grief. They don't need a study for that. They need to leave us alone and let us heal.
Thank you so much for speaking with us today. How can people support your struggle?
We have a big fight on our hands in terms of making sure that we're educating people as much as possible, because the nuclear industry does not want us to be educated on the hazards and the risks. And like I said, the nuclear industry in Saskatchewan is just not mining, but they want to dump nuclear waste from Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick in our territory as well. And so our struggle is to get education out. What you're doing right now and getting the word out is a great help. We need help with getting people trained. So we want to take on monitoring, not the industry monitoring. We want to monitor and make them accountable. So we need people to train in the technical areas of things like taking radiation readings and doing health studies, because we don't trust the government. They're in partnership with the mining companies. Our premier in Saskatchewan says we don't need an Aboriginal programming or anything to help Aboriginal people. We have Cameco, which is the uranium mining company. That's who they want to control our lives. So if people want to help us, we're up against $1 billion company and we got no funds. So we basically run on donations from just people in whoever cares. And that's how we've been able to work and get the word out and spread the word. And we need people to help us with that.
Thank you. For more information, go to latinwaysmedia.com. We will be posting this video and information about your community on our website. Thank you so much for listening.
I will give you